So next we're just gonna have a bit of a look at absolute values. So you may know absolute values, but you might not know what the graph of an absolute value looks like. But essentially the absolute value is just the positive distance away from zero, denoted by these sort of straight lines with x or whatever number in the middle. Essentially, you're just removing the negatives if they're there. So it's pretty much just the distance away from zero that something is, disregarding the fact that it's moving in the positive or the negative direction. It's just like the absolute positive distance away from zero. So I'll quickly go through these. So essentially the absolute value of -3 is just 3, because essentially we're just removing the negative. The absolute value of 3 is just 3. Absolute value of -11 is 11. Absolute value of 11 is also 11. Then we have an equation here using some absolute values to solve. So 5 minus the absolute value of 2 minus 3. So this is equal to -1. So then the absolute value is going to be 1. So we've got 5 minus 1, so that's 4. And then we've got 4 plus the absolute value of 5 minus 8. So 5 minus 8 is going to be equal to -3. The absolute value of that is just going to be equal to 3. So then 4 plus 3 equals 7. Minus the absolute value of 5, so 7 minus 5 is going to give us 2. And that's pretty much how you use the absolute value. And then there's also a graph that helps us denote the absolute value. So we know that absolute values make things positive. So therefore, when we're given a graph that's an absolute value, every single y value is going to be positive. So essentially what you're doing is just making all of your y values positive, and your graph ends up looking like a V. So when you're sketching your absolute value graphs, all you really need to do is sketch one side of them, and then they're symmetrical, so you just draw the exact same thing on the other side. And all your absolute value graphs are going to look like a V. Okay, you move this graph around the same way you'd move like a parabola or a straight line. You know, you can do the plus or minus to move left and right, up and down as well. Okay, changing the gradient makes it steeper or wider as well, just like it would for a regular graph of a straight line.